What is up, guys? SlickB here, and today I'm going to talk about American tanks in War Thunder. These are set to arrive in 1.45, I believe. They just came up on my radar recently this week, and they have been posting several pictures of various armored vehicles that are going to be in the American tree. They also released a video, I'm pretty sure. I saw a trailer about it, and it was legit, but I did not watch the original trailer, and I only watched it once. But I'm going to talk about the pictures, so the definite tanks that I've seen, the pictures of the tanks, and I'm going to go over some specifications of the tanks, including their guns, penetration, how fast they can travel, and just, stuff that you want to know for the game. So we're going to go over the M2 Medium, which was the first tank on the list. It's armed with a 37mm cannon, along with various machine guns in different ports. This 37mm cannon can pen 46mm of armor at 500 meters, which is pretty good for what I'm assuming is going to be a tier 1 tank. It can also penetrate 40mm at 1,000 meters, which is fairly good, like I said, for a very early tank. It has 32mm of armor max, and depending on the variant that's going to be included in the game, it could either have a 350 horsepower engine or a 400. I didn't write down how fast it goes, but I'm sure that doesn't really concern you because you guys, I don't think you care too much about the M2 Medium. Next was the M16 half-track, which is a quad 50 cal half-track. I'm not really going to talk about that. It's a quad 50 cal half-track AA. Now there could be several variants of the half-track that are going to be put in the game. They carried various different gun platforms, like single 50 cals, quad 50 cals, anti-tank guns, mortars. They carried troops, so it's up in the air. It could be anything, but what we know is it's going to be an AA variant in the game as of now. The next tank is the M4 Sherman. Now the picture they put was the 76mm version, but I'm going to talk about all of them. Not all of them. I put the 75mm gun, which is stock, and the 76mm gun with what they can penetrate, and I also talk about the armor on the tank. So the 75mm gun, which was what the Sherman tank was shipped with, which is a short barrel 75mm, could carry 90 rounds of ammunition. It could pen 84mm at 500 meters. That's pretty good, especially when the Sherman first entered Africa. It could pen Panzer IIIs and even Panzer IVs with ease. Panzer IVs not so much. They had 80mm of armor in the hull, so it would have to pen the Panzer IVs in the turret. But that wasn't really too big of a problem. But on to Europe, the Sherman 75mm gun could not handle Tigers, Jagdpanthers, upgraded versions of the German tanks at all. So they had to move to a 76mm gun, which could carry 55 rounds of ammo and could penetrate 100 to 147mm of armor at 500 meters, dependent on what type of ammo you used. It could also penetrate 90 to 127 at 1,000 meters. Like I said, it's dependent of what kind of ammo you're using. Armor piercing, ballistic cap, armor piercing, composite rigid, high explosive, it's all dependent. Now the Sherman had 76mm of armor maximum on what I believe, I didn't write this down, is a 45-degree slope on the front. It's either a 45 or a 60. I'm not too sure. And obviously the later versions of the Sherman had more armor than just that. This is the stock Sherman. They had the EZ-8, the Jumbos. I just finished watching Fury, and watching that movie, I think the Sherman had a little bit more than 76mm of armor. Late war. It had a 400 to 470 horsepower engine, again depending on the variant. It could go 40 to 48 kilometers per hour, which is pretty mobile. It's going to be a pretty fast medium. Next is onto the M41 Walker Bulldog. This is a light tank. They didn't really care about armor, but what they did care about is what the US wanted was a tank that had a strong gun, a light scout tank with a strong gun. So they put a 76mm gun. It has the same stats as the Sherman one. It's the same gun as the late model Shermans. So 100 to 147 pen at 500 meters and 90 to 127 at 1,000. It had a 500 horsepower engine and could go 72 kilometers per hour. This tank could move. That is exceptionally fast, and that is really going to change the way some of these bigger maps play out, especially Poland, when American trees get entered. Now the next tank is the M103 Heavy. This is one of the first heavy tanks America came up with. They were used by the Marines for quite some time. The Army didn't really want them because after they were made, another tank came out. I don't know if it was the Patton. I think it might have been the Patton. And the Army chose to go with these. But the Marine used the 103s for like 10 years, I think. 7 to 10 years. But anyway, that was armed with a 120 millimeter gun with 34 rounds. I do not have specifications on the penetration. It wasn't stated in any of the places I looked, but it obviously packed quite a punch. A 120 millimeter gun is a big gun. Now the interesting part of this tank is the armor. The hull armor ranged from in the front from 100 to 130 millimeters, and 76 millimeters at the side. The mantlet of the M103 was 250 millimeters thick, which is like over 9 inches. That is impenetrable by most guns in War Thunder as of now. And the front of the turret is 180, and the sides is 70. Sides are 76. And again, the picture will be popping up now. It's very well angled. It had a 750 horsepower engine and could go 34 to 37 kilometers per hour, which is decently fast for a tank of its size and power. Next, we're going to go to something I saw in the trailer. The M48 Patton, I believe, is what I saw at the very end of the trailer. So we're going to go and talk about the guns on that. The 90 millimeter gun or a 105. It depends, early war, late war, and I'm talking Korea. Now the M48 Patton, the guns obviously are going to be pretty good. Now the only specification I could find on the 90 millimeter gun is it could pen 330 millimeters of armor from 100 meters away. That was the only thing I could find, so I don't know what else it could do. And it had 120 millimeters of armor. It didn't really go into detail. Now, depending if it was the early model or late model, it had 750 to an 800 horsepower engine, and it could go 48 kilometers per hour. So this is a very mobile tank, and I believe it's going to be a medium. Now, talking on tanks that I want to see, I'm going to talk about. I want to see all of the variants of the Patton in the game. Maybe not the very last version. I believe they had an M50, but anything before that, those would be nice to see. All of the Shermans, of course, would be really cool. Some of the ones with the derp guns and whatnot. Pershing, I don't know if I saw one in the trailer, but those would be nice to see. Hellcats, Sluggers, any Wolverines, any versions of the tank destroyers, the T-40. Those would also be very nice to see. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you're as hyped for American tanks as I am, because America, fuck yeah. Alright, anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic day.